The Government tab. This one's very important, as it also covers policies and ideas. First of all, you have the form of government again. This is the place where you can actually change it. So if we click this, we can change. An absolute monarchy can only change to a despotic monarchy, at least with the technology we have now. But if we change to a despotic monarchy, we might be able to change into a different kind of monarchy, or even into a republic, depending on what the monarchy type is. The stability cost to change our religion to a despotic monarchy is 4, so we would lose 4 stability here, which would drop us all the way to -3. Probably not a good deal. National ideas down here on the bottom are very nice. They're basically a series of different things that you can pick, which give you all sorts of bonuses. You get them as you advance in government tech, and you open more throughout the course of the game. Some of them are locked to technology, and you can't get them until very late. Some of them are locked depending on the ideas you have, that sort of thing. They're divided into 5 categories. Naval, which is basically military ideas that cover your navy. So naval glory gives you prestige, superior seamanship gives you navy or morale. You can get cheaper ships from press gangs. Land is the same way with armies, so you can get extra siege to make it faster, more army tradition, more manpower. Exploration, similar kind of thing. This one is mostly, like, for instance, Quest for the New World lets you recruit explorers so you can go find places to colonize. And then there's trade and colonial things here. State is kind of a mix of spy stuff, like vetting and espionage, and economy things, like bureaucracy, which gives some taxes, national bank that reduces your inflation, trade policy. Smithian economics gives you more production, but doesn't unlock until you've advanced in production technology. Culture are things that deal with religion and culture, obviously. So you can do things that make you more tolerant, like humanist tolerance. You can get things that improve your culture, like patron of the arts, or you can get things that enforce your own religion, like divine supremacy and the church attendance duty. You can also get the cabinet and revolution and counter-revolution, but again, only at very high levels of technology. So you want to get ideas that are good for you, because it costs 3 stability to change them, although they're free to get a new one once the slot opens up. We can get one at Government Tech 22, but we're only at 17, so that'll be a while. The ones that we start with are Bill of Rights, which lowers revolt risk. That's good. It also has kind of an overpowered ability to declare war on any nation that can release a nation, which is kind of lame right now. Hopefully they'll patch that. Superior seamanship makes navies better. This is kind of a waste. I think something like press gangs for cheaper ships would be better, because it also influences upkeep costs. But having good naval morale, because naval battles can be kind of one way or the other, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Quest for the New World is very important for anyone who wants to colonize, and pretty much unimportant for anyone who doesn't. But it's very important to get as soon as you can, if you need colonies. Excellent shipwrights, it's not too bad. But again, it's another naval idea, which I don't think navies are as important as numbers in naval battles. But some of the land morale boosts are very important. The domestic policy sliders basically influence all sorts of various things depending on what you choose to do with them. They have a variety of flavors, and they're basically 2 extremes, and the 2 extremes have very different policies. Most of them are a balance, so sometimes it's good to go one way, sometimes it's good to go the other. Some are better in combination with each other. The only one that's really always better than the other is centralization versus decentralization. This is a time period in history where states were centralizing, and it's pretty much always good to go centralizing. Gives you more efficiency, more taxes, more magistrates. About the only thing decentralization does is it makes it a little easier to recover from war exhaustion. Not worth it. Aristocracy versus plutocracy. This is the nobility versus merchants. Going aristocracy gives you better cavalry and diplomacy. Going plutocracy gives you better trade and better spies. And better navy, slightly. Serfdom versus free subjects. Serfdom makes infantry cheaper, and it makes it easier to get stability because people aren't really free to uprise against you. Free subjects gives you better trade and better technology, but infantry is more expensive because who wants to join the army? Innovative versus narrow-minded. Even though innovative sounds like a good thing to us, to the cultural sensibilities of the time, it wasn't always good to be innovative. Innovative gives you better technology, but you're less stable, you have fewer missionaries, and you have less influence with the Pope, which is bad if you're not which is bad if you're Catholic. Narrow-minded, on the other hand, has a lot of bonuses. Makes it easier to recover from war exhaustion, more missionaries, more colonies, better influence with the Pope, but you do pay a price in technology. Mercantilism versus free trade. Basically, if you have a lot of centers of trade and you control them, like if you're Russia, then you want to be mercantilist because it gives you bonuses to domestic merchant efforts, which is nice because it means that in your own centers of trade, you're going to be very powerful. Free trade gives you bonuses to competition abroad. If you're a very small nation, then you're definitely going to want to be free trade. And if you don't mind competing, if you have a lot of trade ideas, then going free trade is also pretty good. Offensive versus defensive is pretty balanced. Offense gives you more shock for your leaders, which lets them inflict more damage, a little more morale, but it makes your defenses worse and your artillery worse. Defensive makes your army morale a little lower, but it improves your siege and your defense, which is nice because you can take provinces very quickly in a war, and that can limit the damage that you take. So it's not necessarily as defensive as it sounds. It's actually also good for beating their defense. Offense is more for beating their army. Land versus naval. This is pretty much as it implies. If you're a power that's mostly on land, then you go with land because it gives you more morale for your land armies, more manpower, but it makes your ships more expensive. Naval makes your colonists cheaper, makes your navies better, makes your ships cheaper, and ships are very expensive, so that's not a bad thing, but it makes your armies worse, and it hurts your manpower. As England, we're leaning towards a naval power, and you generally want to be one, because if England can take care of Scotland, then it doesn't really need to have a very large army. It can defend itself and prevent anyone from ever landing on its island to begin with its navy. Quality versus quantity. A lot of people swear that this one is another setting where quality is always better, but it's not necessarily always true. Having more quality gives you less manpower again. It makes infantry more expensive, but it improves your fire and your discipline. Discipline, which I'll cover with military, it's basically a thing that influences casualty infliction. So it can be good for killing people, but early in the game it's very hard to just kill people outright. Quantity, on the other hand, hurts your discipline, but it gives you more manpower, which can be nice if you don't have a lot of it and you're trying to fight someone like Russia or France, and it increases the speed of your reinforcement, which means that your troops will refresh themselves faster. Not bad.